Mary, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Can you see me?
Yeah, are you able to access the website? Because it is not, the link is not taking you to the Zoom, to the YouTube.
Oh, yeah, let me go through Citrix and look.
And I just promoted you to panelist. So you should be able to turn your camera on now.
Oh, I just got promoted to a panelist.
That's right. See if it lets you turn your camera on. There you go. Perfect. So we are live on YouTube, but the link that's on the website says via Zoom webinar, and you click on it and you just end up at like YouTube's homepage. It's a CenturyLink search for YouTube, which is not the right place. So can you add a link?
Can I add a link to where?
The web page, to the open space board page?
Nope, that has to go through Linda, but I can try to get her on the phone.
Let's do that.
Yep. I did send her the link, so that link doesn't work.
It's not the right link. It sends you to a CenturyLink page. And
Can
so
you,
let me find the link.
can you email it to me?
Yeah, I'm looking for it now.
Okay.
But see if you can get her on the phone.
Yeah. Hey, Linda, it's Mary. How are you? I'm good. Hey, if I send you a link, can you upload it to the county's website? The link we gave you is not working. For the meeting that's going to start at 5:30. Yeah.
Yeah, the one I just sent you works when I click on it.
The link we gave you is not working.
No, the link we gave her is the right link.
No, the link we gave her.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. At 5:30. Did it work? Yeah.
The link I just sent you worked. Whatever link they used out on the website is not.
Okay. I'll send it. What did you say, Linda? I'll send it to you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. All right. Thanks. All right. Bye. She's going to load it.
Okay. So we are live on YouTube right now, so it's working.
Okay. I'm waiting for your email.
Let me double check. I just sent it. Do you have it now?
Nope.
All right. I just sent it again.
Okay. I'll give it a minute. Rayanne's oh, there it is. Rayanne's Comcast is down, so she's joining via phone.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Hey, Mark, how are you? Uh-huh. Yeah. Huh, that's weird. Let me look and I can, if you want, do you want to try, want me to give it to you again or do you just want to listen in on my phone? All right, so let me put you on speaker. Okay. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear Mark, Mary?
I can hear Mark.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Hi, Mark.
Hi.
Can you hear Mark loud and clear?
I can.
Okay, good. So Mark, you can run the meeting from my phone. I think that'll work out just fine.
Yeah, I tried several of the numbers as suggested by Mary, but the web ID number is 934. That series didn't work. The web series starting with 396 didn't work.
Who knows?
Yeah, there's no telling, Mark.
Yeah, but we got you. So I had a feeling we were going to go this way anyway. So I'm okay with it.
Cool. Just let me know when you want me to start yapping.
Will do. I think we have Paul on.
Hey, Paul.
So how long do you think it's going to go tonight?
That's up to you, sir.
Because I have another board meeting.
If we do this properly, we should be done within 10 minutes.
That's what I like to hear.
Hi, Christy.
Hi there,
Paul,
Mary.
your camera should work if you are on the computer.
Yeah, for some reason I'm on a different computer because I'm having to run two sets of. I'm running your meeting on one machine and I'm running another board meeting on another machine at the same time. So I'm still trying to figure out the video on this particular computer right now.
Okay. So we're going to have the board, we'll be able to talk and we'll be able to see your pictures. And then others that are going to attend, which would be our grant applicants, will be attendees. They'll be able to hear, but they won't be able to speak unless we turn their volume on, and we'll do that during the public invited to be heard.
Okay.
Does that work, Mark?
Yes. Basically, we'll just start the meeting. I'll ask Mary to call the roll, and then I will make a suggestion as to the process I want to go forward with, such as the consent agenda. Anybody wanting to withdraw an item from our list of things to be approved, now's the time to speak up.
That's me then.
Anything left, we'll make one motion to approve it all. And then if they have anything hanging out there, such as potentially the HOA project, then we can deal with a hopefully short and minor discussion and then bring it to a vote and then adjourn.
Sounds good.
Can anyone hear me? This is Christy.
Hi, Christy.
Yep.
We can.
Hi.
Yep.
Mark, I will be bringing up an exception to discuss. Can Mark hear me?
He can.
Yes,
Okay.
I assume you're talking about Quebec Run?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you're going to pull that off, all right? Anything
Yes.
else?
No?
Okay.
Will there be any brief opportunity to say anything about any of the grants? I mean, plus or negative, or,
I'd like to keep this as simple as possible with the director and Ms. Willis, considering the fact we don't have real good access to everybody.
Uh-huh.
And so we're just trying to basically approve the stuff that we need to approve and move on.
Yeah, and I
And
think
then
if
hopefully
you,
give our
And I think,
Parks Rec Department and the commissioners a chance to bring us up to date, and hopefully by this fall, something can actually happen again.
and I would say also, Christy, I think when we're going through the motion of making the motion, we can have discussion. And I think if there's anything you want to talk about with regard to any of the grants, just bring it up at that point. I
Mhm.
think that makes the most sense.
Okay, that sounds appropriate. Yeah.
Byron, Linda was able to upload it and she's watching it on YouTube.
Perfect. Thank
Who
you.
is? I'm sorry.
No, no, we're good.
Okay.
We weren't able to get it on the YouTube link for the public wasn't quite working right at first, so
Oh,
we needed to work on that a little bit.
And how do you want people to come in, or Mark, or how do you want someone to, will you go around, or how will that be done?
Yeah, once we have a group on, then Mark will run it, and as we vote, you'll vote. Mary will take roll and go through each one of you and have you vote that way, so that we don't have buttons or anything to press. We'll just do it through a voice vote.
Okay.
Cindy, are you there?
Yeah, I think so.
Woo-hoo, here we are.
You
Where?
are there, Cindy.
I see you.
Wow. Well, where is Byron? He looks like he's out
I know. He always has the
Yeah.
best backgrounds.
in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at Club 33 in Disneyland.
Okay.
We're on all those Miami beaches.
I want to be there too.
You too. So bad. You don't understand.
Yes, to hear the ocean would be nice.
Well, all I know is that you look way too good for not having a haircut, because
No.
I've given up.
Yeah.
There's a little button on Zoom that says clean up my appearance. That's what's saving me.
I see. Wow. You're lucky. Ugh. Maybe I'll just get rid of the video.
No, no. Come on. Be like the rest of us.
It is. Today has just been a exceptionally rough day. So
Has it? I'm sorry.
I have 4 more people in my household than I did, and so I spent 2 hours going to the grocery store for myself and for 2 neighbors, and
Oh,
Oh, wow.
wow, I don't recall when I've spent that much money at the grocery store
yeah,
or that much time.
yeah.
So
It's not fun. Rayanne, is that you?
Yeah. Can you unmute her?
Yep, working on it.
Thank you.
Do we have Doug?
Not yet. If you're an attendee or and you can't speak, but you're a board member, please either send in the chat that you're on the call or click the little raise your hand button, and that way I can add you to the panelist section.
Real quick, is that a setting that's in Zoom in general to be able to set them between panelist and attendee?
It's Zoom webinar.
Okay, because I didn't even know that was a function, because I have to run these all the time for my own meetings. I'm going to check into that. That's great. I didn't even know that was a feature.
Yeah, it is. And I know that the commissioners had some real problems with the first couple of Zoom webinars that they did. And as a result, we had to get a little bit more robust with it.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think that's great to be able to do that. I had a meeting with 50 people the other day, and 50 people on one Zoom, and they're constantly, unmuting and muting and yeah, it was craziness.
Yep.
I don't see, I saw that raise your hand thing, but now it's gone.
It should be at the bottom of your screen, Cindy.
There's
I
three-
know.
Yeah.
They like invite and or something like that, and there should
No,
be
I
three little
agree.
dots.
I saw it, but I don't see it now.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I have,
Maybe
Well,
it's
there's
because
more.
we're here.
no, I don't know.
Byron, I just got a message from Doug. He said he's doing it via phone only. It's telling me I will be muted throughout the meeting. I only have the meeting ID and password. Was there a separate participant number?
What's
Yes.
what's his phone number so we can open him up? I don't see any phone numbers on here.
Okay.
Is he
Let me
Doug?
see if he called in yet.
Doug, is that you?
Let me send him.
You are muted.
Is that you, Doug?
Yes, testing. 1, 2, 3. This is Doug. Hello, hello.
Okay, you're in. Good.
Hi, Doug.
Hey, everybody.
Now
Hi,
we're
Doug.
looking for-
Hi, Doug.
Hello, hello.
Or hello, Doug, wherever.
We're looking for our other Doug, and we're looking for Ed now.
Come on, Paul. Let's see ya.
Mary, did
I-
Doug?
my-
give you a phone
my-
number?
camera's
I'm
not
sending him
working.
another message.
Okay.
I can see all of you guys. Can you see me?
No,
I can only
No.
see
We're almost
Brian,
there. We're
Cindy,
almost there
Mary.
with you, Doug.
I'm not sure how I click into you guys so you can see me.
You can now. I promoted you to panelist, Doug. Doug, you should be able to turn on your camera now.
Okay, how do I do that?
Down at the bottom, if you click over the black area on the screen, you should see some icons pop up on the bottom.
I see that.
Next to mute should be stop or start video. If you click on that, that should start your video.
there
Ah,
you are. Hi.
Hi, Doug.
Hi there.
I'm not sure if that's an improvement though.
Well,
Oh,
for
of
me,
course it is. Of course it is.
it's not an improvement seeing me, I guarantee you, but
Oh my
seeing you
God.
is nice. I've missed you.
I missed all of you guys.
Yes, same here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yes, I
Yes.
can hear you, Mary.
The board just got a very nice message from Brendan Close. He is from the city of, he's doing the Big Dry Creek grant. And he said to tell you that they are more than willing to postpone funding until 2021 if Adams County needs to use money more prudently.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
wow.
Oh,
That's,
that'll be interesting. Who are we waiting for now? Our chairman?
I
Oh,
just
Mark is on. Mark is on the line.
give the director the go-ahead to say we're all here and let's start.
We're just waiting to see if we can find Ed.
Ed.
So
Oh, Byron, Doug's number is 303-621-4000.
got it. I'm gonna get him going now. Okay, Doug, can you hear us?
Yeah, that sounds like they just unmuted me.
Yep, we did. Gotcha. Thank you. Now we need Ed. Mary, do you want to give Ed a quick
I
call?
can give Ed a call.
See what phone number is his or if he's got under another name. We can get him hooked up and then we're ready to go. So thank you for everyone who's on board. Thanks for bearing with us. Just give us another minute and we should be able to be ready to roll.
Do you want me to tell you Ed's number to see if he's online?
Yeah.
303-429-7629.
That sounds like his number. It's that old.
I don't see it on there. So.
Okay.
so maybe
Hi,
he's
Ed.
on.
It's Mary calling from Adams County Parks and Open Space. Just trying to see if you were on the call. Thanks. Bye. Went to voicemail.
Okay. Well, I think if Ed chimes in, maybe he'll call you, Mary, then we can just put him
Okay.
on your computer. But I think with everybody else here, Mr. Chair, I think we might as well get started.
Okay, the time is approximately 5:35. We'll now go forward with the meeting. For those information, so you guys understand, we're setting this up as a consent agenda. Basically, everything we have to vote on becomes one item. If you want something withdrawn at this time from that list of items, such as the minutes and the 16 projects, please speak now and we'll withdraw it for discussion.
Okay,
I
will-
want yeah, go ahead, Christy.
well, I want to discuss the Quebec Run project.
Okay, that's set on the side. Anything else?
Yes, I would like to see if we can delay approval of minutes until the end of the meeting where we have matters before the board, if that's acceptable.
Is this our attorney?
No, this is Doug Coulard, non-attorney.
Just place one on Zoom.
I'm sorry. I misunderstood him, Byron.
He was asking if we could delay the approval of the minutes to later in the meeting outside of the consent agenda.
Okay, that will be pulled off. Anything else? All right. Ms. Willis, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Dowling,
Here,
Ms. Barnes,
unincorporated Adams County. I don't know what we need.
Here,
Barnes?
present. Present.
Mr. Coulard,
Present.
Mr. Hickle. No. Mr. Stickle,
Present.
Mr. Weinrock,
Here,
Mr. Fanning,
Here,
Ms. Reichow,
Here,
Mr. Edelstein.
Well, I'm here, but that doesn't really count as a quorum.
Okay, I'm just making sure you were here.
Yeah, it's good to let everybody know on everybody's here. Okay. All right, then the chair will entertain a motion for the approval of all projects on one vote, pulling off Quebec Run and the minutes.
Second that motion.
Okay, chair makes the motion. I got a second from who?
Doug Coulard.
Okay, is there any since it's a consent agenda, normally there's no discussion, but I will allow it at this point. Is anybody have any problems with this or any discussion? If not, let's call the vote.
okay,
Go for it.
Ms. Dowling,
Yes,
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Coulard,
Yes.
Mr. Stickle,
Yes.
Mr. Weinrock.
yes.
And Mr. Hickle is still not with us, so that motion passed.
Okay, motion carried. All right, next item up is Quebec Run. Christy, you have the floor.
well, what I want to start with is I think I was originally very supportive of the concept of changing out landscaping. And then with further thought and consideration and thinking about it, and as I kind of dug in a little bit deeper, I don't think I can support for a homeowners association, which was, originally set up by the real estate developer, I guess some 17 years ago. And the homeowners bought in or, are paying the fees towards this. I think the other thing, so to me, that's a private organization. Granted, you could probably drive through the streets, but what they're asking for, it seemed to me that was going to be a homeowners association responsibility. I think their issue is a larger issue from the standpoint of they're probably not the only homeowners association that has this issue of having maybe made early on doing some land development that the realtor, how it was marketed to them, kind of left them with this issue of rising water prices. And with knowing that there's close to 200 or so HOAs in Adams County, I'm extremely concerned about setting up any kind of precedent of starting to provide money like this. And not just given the situation we're going into with the terrible economic downturn that we're going to be facing, but I believe I think their problem needs to be addressed in a different way, either state legislation or something that's a little bit out of the realm of the open space. As I look at organizations in our policy, they're providing a service. And I don't know what this homeowners association service is to in the spirit, I guess, of open space. And so that's the other thing that bothers me. I don't see it as, it's not like a park. It's not like trails. It's not. The other thing, if I may, I had one more thing. Is that all right? When I looked at too who the sponsor is, it is the city of Thornton, but it came out of their water resource department. It didn't come through the parks and recreation. So for a lot of reasons, I won't be supporting it. And I think for those reasons, and I think the issue is bigger than what open space can really do at this point, because I don't think they're going to be the only HOA that's going to have some needs coming up.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Doug.
Okay, Cindy, I just, to me, I think I share the concerns, but I guess what I would like to know, to me, it's kind of a legal question. If I live next door to an HOA here at Hidden Lake, there is a open park. I walk by. Oh, thanks for the comment there. I'm not sure who that was.
This is a Great Dane.
That was really profound. I caught it, caused a bark even. And the sign says basically, this is a private HOA-owned park. Do not trespass, even though it's on a major road thoroughfare. So my question is Adams County Open Space providing funds for this project that potentially the HOA could legally bar anyone else from participating in that park area? And that's the question, because most HOAs legally can put exclusive rights and uses on their properties.
Yes.
For the members only, and that's my question. Is this HOA, could this HOA do the same thing, which would negate the use of our funds for all of us?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, Doug, and I think best answered by our attorney, Doug.
Well, as a condition of our grants, I believe it has to be accessible to the public. So it's not a matter of whether or not they could normally prevent the public from accessing some property. I mean, counties, governments can do that as well. You can have property that you don't allow people to access, a jail. But contractually, they would be obligated to keep the property open to the public.
And Doug, could you explain what that means contractually? Is there a legal document that says that?
There is a contract that we enter into with each grantee, and as an attachment to that is our policies and procedures. I believe the resolution itself and everything that was in the grant application. And I do believe there is somewhere in the policies that you do have to keep that property open.
For how long?
That I don't know is specified. So, what would the useful life of this grant be? I don't know how we've managed this type of thing in the past.
my understanding from the discussions before with the, excuse me for interrupting, the project and Shannon and Renee doing it was supposed to be open for perpetuity.
Mhm. Right, and it's landscaping, so what's what's open about that?
The park from Quebec Run would be open to the public forever.
Okay, so if it's open forever, then, if they were to close this off at some point, it would be a breach of the contract. And we would sue for our money back, or at least ask for it first and then have to sue afterwards.
Okay? Doug Collard, anything else?
No, not at this time. Cindy, you had a comment?
I do. It's a little bit different. I was originally for this project because I thought it was a good use of water and sounded like a good thing to cut down on the grass and that kind of thing. I did have a question about what happened after the 5 years where the landscaping company stopped maintaining it, because I thought to myself, after 5 years, if they don't maintain it, then what happens to our money? And then when we got the actual dollar amount, my jaw just, I mean, I don't have dentures, but my teeth could have fallen out. I couldn't believe that they were, I'm sorry, I just felt like that was just excessive amount of money. And I'd be more than happy to entertain giving them some, but I mean, there are other projects that are much more open to the public, and they in no way ask for that. I don't know, to me, the dollar amount just makes me say absolutely not. But I wouldn't mind helping them out if you could tell me what happens after 5 years to the investment that we put in.
Okay.
I'm not sure what you mean by what happens after 5 years to the investment.
Wasn't it in the information that we got that the landscaping company, I don't know how to say, I don't know if it was contractual or what, but they said that they would maintain, get it going basically, and be there for 5 years. So if a plant died, they'd replace it and that kind of thing, that they would get the whole.
That's like their warranty or something?
Yeah, their warranty
their
for 5
maintenance.
years. Yeah,
Typically with any landscape construction project, you have a warranty period. It's normally not 5 years. It's
well,
normally-
I read 5 somewhere on this.
Yeah.
It could be. And they could have negotiated that. Typically it's a year at most, but after that, then it's up to the HOA to maintain it. And, I couldn't imagine that, especially if they're making this kind of an investment to add a better irrigation system, that they're not going to continue to irrigate it, which is the most important piece of it. And every HOA that I'm aware of that has a responsibility to maintain the areas, they have to contract with some sort of a maintenance contract to maintain the turf or whatever amenities they offer. And that's common. And, I think Christy alluded to it. We've got over 400 HOAs within Adams County alone. And almost all of them have some sort of either property or common area or amenity that they have to maintain. Some even have pools. And so, as part of the fees that are paid into them, that's part of their budget where they budget to maintain these things. So I would imagine there would be no reason, there would be no motivation for them not to maintain it after any period of time. I think, the reason they want to, from my perspective, having read it, the reason they want to make these improvements is to make it easier for them to maintain moving forward.
Right. I mean, absolutely. But I just wanted, that was
Mhm.
a bell that went off in my head.
Sure. Sure. And if I could throw in another comment, if you don't mind, or Christy, you can go if you have something to add.
Well, my question too is why this is not connected to the parks. This is connected to their water resource. So to me, that's, I do not see, I still am struggling to see the connection with either recreation or, because normally I thought it was those, if there's a sponsor, it's going to come in a relative sense to what, that they're not providing a recreation. We can't expect them to hold events, apparently. We can't, I don't know how many of them, of their members, have a really are aware or acknowledge that there will be signage up there and some kind of monitoring. So to me, it is a lot of money, I think. I think the concept, I'll go back to the fact that I think the concept is worthy, but I think it's another funding issue. And I do not see the HOAs providing a public service. They provide for the members who live there. I've got one near us that have horseback riding. They would not allow, they have a whole, like a bridle path. They would not allow anyone from our community to go into their area. They're allowed to do that. And I just think this is a can of worms, especially right now, under the circumstances that personally, I don't think is worth opening up. But I think the other thing, they didn't do any fundraising. I look at some of the other grants, like Lubert's Light Foundation, all the fundraising and going out and getting money. I mean, the HOA didn't even hold like a bake sale to try to come up with to show that there was a public, that they had a community interest for this. So it leaves me with a lot of unanswered questions. And I'm just not comfortable with opening up this can of worms right now, especially.
Okay, Byron?
Yeah, and I think if I could just add a couple of things. One, it was the overall 5th ranked project when you as a board ranked the project. So just want to remind you of that, higher than many of the other projects that are worthy of funding. 2 is there is nothing, and Doug can correct me if I'm wrong, but there is nothing in the rules and regulations, policies and procedures, or the resolution that would prohibit this organization from getting a grant. I don't believe it says that you must be sponsored by a park and recreation agency, although
It says provide a service, provide
Right.
services.
And I understand
That's on page 4.
Yeah, and I understand where you're
Hi,
coming
Ed.
from.
Are you there?
I guess from my perspective, my
Okay.
recommendation would be, to your point, Christy,
Hold on just a minute.
maybe just a problem with this application could be a problem with future applications if any of the other 400 plus HOAs within the county want to apply for projects. So if you want to make, if we want to talk about recommending some sort of a policy change to the commissioners, we can do that. Doug, maybe you can
Yeah, I
Okay.
disagree with what he's saying.
to do something like that.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, that's okay.
Byron, I have Ed Hickle on the line. Go ahead, Ed.
I was going to say, I don't know if we did any changes from HOAs. We have passed many of them in the past, at least 2 that I remember.
I can't understand. I'm not sure.
You can't hear him?
I
Oh.
cannot hear either.
Can you speak a little louder, Ed?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Sorry. Not going to work.
okay. He said he's disagreeing with that.
Disagree.
Disagreeing.
He's disagreeing. He's saying that in the past, they have funded HOAs in the past.
Yes.
Okay.
He said they have even funded a church. That,
I know that one of the,
okay. He's saying the church in Bradburn in Westminster, they have funded that in the past.
okay.
That's not an issue.
Okay.
Byron, can I just kind of your point, Byron? You know, I know our job as a board is basically to look at these projects and do they meet the criteria? And if our Doug, our lawyer, says that HOA is that part, but the only way I think I could be comfortable is maybe take your suggestion and have Doug look at language that says basically an HOA funded with our taxpayers' dollars from the open space, there has to be a contractual or a long-term agreement that maintains this land in perpetuity open to the public, whereas the HOA cannot legally restrict anyone from those properties. And I would be perhaps more amenable to the project if I knew that there was a legal agreement over HOAs, which normally can do that. They can shut off properties as they want to. I'm nervous about the HOA as well, unless there is some kind of a legal language we could put in future projects that would assure that the longevity and the openness of all projects with an HOA on as the recipient.
And I think one challenge we have is we can't make a requirement that isn't currently part of our process a requirement in order to approve a grant that's been applied for during this process. And Doug, you can correct me if I'm wrong. We can make the recommendation in the future, but I think the challenge we have before us is that this entity, Quebec Run, has followed the rules, applied for the grant according to the rules that we've set in place. And you know, from my perspective, I don't feel like we can change the rules in the middle of the game on them. However, if we have this as a concern, let's look at ways to make this less of a concern moving forward. And I'll give you another example, if you don't mind going down another path with me just for a second. And that is the way Arapahoe County's grants work is you can sponsor an HOA or a school or a church or an entity that cannot apply for a grant. However, you have to give up one of your grants from that cycle. So, for example, if I'm as Adams County, I want to sponsor Quebec Run to do more improvements to their playground, then I forfeit one of the two grants that my agency can apply for. And that way, if to allow HOAs, if that's your interest, it makes it so the agency in question, it has more at stake in order to sponsor them. And I feel like there'd be a little bit more buy-in and a little bit more of a commitment on the part of the sponsoring agency. Currently, you can sponsor as many other entities as you would like. And so there's no limit. So there's really no reason to have any hesitancy or to really kind of think it through further. You know, the answer is pretty easy yes. So if you wanted to make some change, we could make those recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners, and you could make it a little bit more difficult for them to do that, if that makes sense.
Right, Byron, I have a question on that. When you did that with Arapahoe County, was it what part of the city of Aurora? Was it you as the parks that their projects had to look like it was something related to what you do in terms of the city recreation and parks? Because again, I note that I don't have it, there's no indication that the city of Thornton's Parks and Trails Department had anything to do with this sponsorship. The sponsorship came through the water, what they call water resources. So that's the other part that's really confusing. I understand your point, but in this case, they're not even relating it to through the parks staff that I can see.
Byron,
Yes, Mark.
the chair would like to speak at this
Sure.
moment.
Go right ahead.
Keep in mind, we're not dealing with departments making these decisions. It is the city of Thornton and their city council that are actually the sponsors. The departments are working on their behalf.
And thank you,
So
Mark.
it has nothing to do whether Parks said so, or the Water Department said so, or whether the Fire Department said so.
I just find it interesting.
Back to City Council of the City of Thornton.
And Christy, I think to your point, if we made that a requirement, if we made the change, the agency, that would mean, for example, the city of Thornton would have to forfeit one of their grants, which their parks agency would certainly be involved in. You know, the water department wouldn't be making a decision for the parks department, where the parks department typically would apply for the grants. So I think it would help solve what you're seeing as a
But-
problem.
I do note, though, at least 6 or 7 of the grants, one might be a mini grant, all had to come through some other sponsorship, that they're not jurisdictions themselves, such as like the Bluebird Light Foundation that had to go through Aurora Parks. Bar Lake went through both Adams and Brighton. Adams 14 had to go through Adams County. So we have at least close to a third or more of the grant requests that went through had to get, they're not a jurisdiction themselves.
Sure.
Apparently the U.S. Fish and Wildlife is. I thought they would have to go through Commerce City, but I guess not.
Mhm. And
So
perhaps
that concerns me.
If
Is there
you,
anything else on this, or we don't want to completely beat up the old horse?
you know, if you'd like
No,
us
those
to
are my
work on
thoughts.
it as staff and make a recommendation to you in our next meeting, we're happy to work on that. That way we could work with Doug and we could look at what you're perhaps, Christy, it could be for large grants only, and municipalities could sponsor multiple mini grants, would solve a lot of what you're pointing out. So we could work on something and bring it back to you next time if you'd like.
And keep in mind, if you vote no, that's okay, simply because of the fact this is in fact a recommendation to the county commissioners. So we can send something up to the top of the hill with a no on it.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind. It's not like we're going to kill it here.
No, correct. It's a recommendation.
A negative or a positive to the board.
Question. Could we recommend it with the caveat that the amount be very different than what they ask for? I mean, to me,
That would be appropriate, considering the fact the whole process has been through our staff, the city of Thornton, as well as Quebec Run, and they have a set figure. If we're going to do anything and you really don't want to spend that kind of money, then simply vote no against the project and recommend not to approve it without further investigation or something in that nature.
okay, I see. I understand what you're saying.
Mr. Chair, would you like staff to work on some kind of a recommendation around HOAs moving forward?
Yes,
Will
that's
do.
my opinion. And I like your Arapahoe County thing. You know, if somebody's allowed 3 projects and they want to use them for the city itself, that's cool. If they want to sponsor somebody, that's cool, but it's their decision.
Okay.
Everybody agree with me?
Yes.
Well, I still think that the part about HOAs, what is their service? That is in the handbook.
Key here is the city of Thornton did sponsor it, and they did make an agreement to have the park open to the public, which before this is, you know, it's not open right now, but if it's done, then they are opening it up to the public.
As I'm reading this policy on page 4 in our handbook, it says that organizations, and then has a service aspect to it, and that's,
The general public by allowing the park to be open.
well, I think before it even gets to that point, I mean, the HOA is for the homeowners. It's not for the general public. it says, any organization, including but not limited to metropolitan districts, providing services in addition to. So the service is for the homeowners. We're telling them after the fact, if we give you the money, you have to keep it open. That's the line of logic that I'm looking at. That's where my line of logic kind of leaves the homeowner association. It's their responsibility.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments? Okay, remember you can vote no or vote yes. And it'll go on as part of the recommendation or not a recommendation to the county commissioners. Ms. Willis, would you please poll?
Ms. Dowling,
So on the Quebec run, I vote no.
Ms. Barnes,
I have to say no too.
Mr. Coulard,
Yes, with the proviso that Byron was suggesting that we come back with some stronger language regarding HOAs. I vote yes.
Mr. Hickle? Okay. Mr. Sickle?
Sorry, I didn't, what's Mr. Hickle's vote?
Yeah,
Mr. Hickle voted yes.
Okay, Stickle votes yes.
Mr.
I agree with Doug Collard, and I've already discussed this with Brian, and he's already made mention that he will do the proper research and discussion later on HOA.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear Mr. Weinrock.
Yeah.
Say it again.
What's your vote, Paul?
What's
Oh,
your
yes,
vote?
yes,
Yes?
yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. 4 yeas and 2 nays.
I would recommend to the director that some of these comments on the dissenting side be expressed with our recommendation to the commissioners.
Absolutely, will do.
Okay, is there any, that's it for that issue. Now, the minutes. Doug, you specifically, Mr. Collard, you specifically wanted that pulled. What is your problem with it?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chairman. I would just like to get a clarification of the purpose and the scope of minutes. For example, the last set of minutes that we got basically just listed the people and the public who actually testified. There was no real discussion. There was no question and answering that it was summarized toward the end. And so I'm a little confused when in prior minutes that were tape recorded, we got a more comprehensive outlook and what happened at those meetings. And this last set of minutes was not like that at all. So I'd like the board's opinion and the staff's opinion on what they should look like, because my memory is not good anymore. And I was waiting to see kind of what we all said, what we agreed to as a staff, as a board, et cetera. And that last minutes was not like that at all. So I'm just curious about your all reaction to that.
Byron?
Chris, you wanna?
Well, so Doug, you're saying if there was like a summarization of, if there a decision was made about something, that there be a brief summarization?
Well, other than the last one, again, I might have missed it, but the last one was very brief and didn't go into any detail, whereas other previous minutes were very comprehensive about discussions and decisions made and so forth and so on. And this last one was not like that at all. And I just wondered what the board would like to see in terms of minutes. And quite frankly, I thought the last set of minutes was not adequate in terms of what we've had in the past.
Doug, are you referring to the minutes from when we took the tour?
Yeah, it was one that was postponed and I never got. So again, I may be, because I had the problem with my website in my email. But the last minute that you sent me, Mary, that was attached to the tour, that was the one that was very brief and abbreviated. And it
Correct. The tour is always abbreviated. It is just who was on the tour and what the tour was about.
Okay, but I thought that was a different set though that I saw. So maybe I'm missing the last set of minutes then again. And that
Okay.
could be my fault because of the email problem we've had.
Okay. Your minutes can be verbatim. Is that what you're looking for?
No. Usually minutes are just summarizations. It doesn't need to be verbatim. I just wanted to make sure everybody's on the same sheet of music, what they should contain.
Okay.
I did notice a stark difference, Doug, so perhaps it is that you just didn't get them. It could have been.
Okay, that's my
Let's-
fault.
Let's take a look at this next set, and if they're not what you want, just let us know and
You
and
know,
we'll get you what you need.
Thank you. That's fine.
Hey, can I make a comment real quick? This is Paul.
Yeah.
Mark, is there any other discussion on the minutes?
Yes, I do have. I just brought up the minutes as well, Doug. And it is the meetings that we did meet, not the tour, but the other one. These minutes were definitely not quite the scope that we've been getting. So definitely getting a little bit more information. I also agree, like there wasn't, we usually got a little bit more on like where things roll. And it wasn't just the tour. I was looking at the last meetings on 225.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on the minutes? All right, Byron, you understand what they're looking for?
Yeah, we'll be able to work with you on that.
All right, in that case, the chair entertains a motion for the approval of the minutes that are in fact before us. If there needs to be changes down the line, we can in fact change them or amend them as we see fit down the line. But as we see it tonight, the chair entertains a motion for approval of the minutes that have been, how do I describe this? The minutes from the past, present, the ones that are in front of us. Okay.
I thought you were going to go for the future.
Go Chase Fox. Yep.
You're one heck of a chairman there. Like a prediction of the future. Second,
Okay.
Who did the motion?
I don't.
well, I thought our chairman did the motion.
The chair is asking for a motion.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Also move.
So moved
Okay.
by Christie. Is there a second?
Second,
Okay, having a motion and second, poll the board.
Ms. Dowling,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Coulard,
yes.
Mr. Hickle, Mr. Stickle,
Yes.
Mr. Weinrock.
Yes.
I would also ask for a motion for the mini grants because I used the word the 16 projects earlier. I don't want any confusion, so we'll have a separate vote starting now. I will make a motion for the approval of the mini grants. I need a second.
Paul
Second.
Oh, Paul. Paul, go with Paul.
Christie, did you second?
All seconded.
Paul and
thank-
I both did.
Thank you.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion on the mini grants? Hearing none, please poll the board.
Ms. Dowling,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Coulard,
Yes.
Mr. Hickle, Mr. Stickle,
Yes.
Mr. Weinrock.
Yes.
Okay, is there anything else before this board, Byron?
No, just a quick update from the county's perspective. I just want you all to know we're doing everything we can to keep our staff and the public safe in our parks and open space properties and along the trails. So a couple things we've done is right away when the stay-at-home order was issued by Tri-County Health initially first and then the governor, is any shelter or any place in the park where there was more than one picnic table, we pulled picnic tables and left just one to reduce the amount of congregation that would be created by these. We also closed down our playgrounds, took the rim hoops off of our basketball backboards, and closed down other amenities like our horseshoe pits and our volleyball pits. And we put signage up immediately as well to make sure to let the public know what social distancing should look like in our properties. And the other thing we did is we moved our staff to taking care of restrooms and trash cans in the parks and sanitizing the picnic tables that remained to first thing in the morning every day before the crowds come in, and then to be away from having contact with the public to keep them safe. All of these measures have been very successful. We've seen very good social distancing throughout our system as people are heeding the signs and being respectful of each other and taking it seriously. Our department, knock on wood, has not had one person sick from COVID-19 to date, which several of the other departments within the county alone, and I know several other agencies with a number of people that are sick. So I feel like some of these measures we put in place at first seemed a bit draconian, but as we moved further along, we've realized that they've really been helpful and kept us safe. As a result, we are not going to be back in our building until sometime in June, and we're likely going to phase our way in June. And so we'll continue to operate remotely until then, and perhaps longer, depending on whether or not a vaccine is found or how much farther along we go with this. One thing we will ensure, though, is that we keep the park safe, clean, and functioning to the best of our ability. The other thing I think is a great testament to what we do and what we're about is that the usage on our parks and our trails and our open space properties has probably about quadrupled since this whole COVID-19 stay-at-home stuff has started. We've seen every one of our parking lots full to the point where, like at Elaine Valente, we had to extend the parking lot, doubling it in size because there was just so much use there and people could not get in. Even with that, we see people being respectful and staying at a safe social distance. So kind of proud of what our response has been, but also, so you know, our scope has almost been narrowed to really just focusing on doing what we can to keep those parks safe and operating. We typically have several staff that are dedicated to events, and we have those staff have been kind of separated out and are helping do parks maintenance at this time. For one, to keep them employed, and for two, because we do have a significant amount of use in our parks. And now with the growing season hitting us and grass greening up and it getting hot to where we have to fire up irrigation systems, we're definitely needing more help in the park. So just wanted to give you a little status update there. The health of the county from a financial standpoint, we're primarily funded by property tax. So we're not looking at layoffs. We're looking at some reductions, but not drastic. However, we do know that we're going to see sales tax drop. So even though we had all the money we needed for this cycle, and we probably will because we still have money in the bank for next cycle, there could come a time here in the near future if the economy doesn't bounce back where we're going to have less money to work with for our grants process. So just wanted you to be cognizant of that. I know in talking to several of you, I know you're already aware of that, but just wanted to kind of remind the board of that. And with that said, it is good to see you all. I'm glad that you're doing well. I'm glad everybody's able to participate in the call. I'm very hopeful that next time we're going to be able to meet in person and not have to do another call, but we'll do what we need to do. And take matters from there. So that's all I have to report, Chair.
Okay. Very simply, I'm speaking on behalf of the whole board. Thank you and Mary for all your service, and even the attorney and the staff that you guys run. We appreciate all your efforts. We want you to be safe and be healthy, and we'll be here if you need us.
Thank you.
I will ask for a motion. Okay, we don't need a motion for adjournment unless there's anything else before the board.
I have one question.
Christy has a question.
I want to make sure, did we do the consensus vote for the others?
Yes, you did.
This is how bad my memory is.
Yes, you did.
We did.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
did.
One
we did.
passed. All right. We do need to get the money recommendation.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I just wanted to make sure we had done the vote for the grant recommendations.
Yes.
Is there any other comments or questions that need to be made? Or we're going to allow, okay. Everybody done?
Yes.
All right,
Ed,
we are adjourned.
Oh, hold on. Cindy had one question.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm assuming that we are not going to be out doing our rah for the SCFD, for the tax. We had talked about doing that this summer during events and things like that.
Thank you for bringing that up, Cindy. I think
Oh.
right now, most of the summer events have been canceled or are in the process of being canceled. We have not yet canceled the fair, but there is certainly a lot of discussion of are we even going to be allowed to have it? How many people are going to be able to gather at that point? And I know a lot of the folks on the call from the cities are in the same situation. So most of those things are systematically being canceled. So I think at this time, yeah, I think we're going to have to hold off. Now, should that change and festivals and fairs open up and we decide to put some booths out there, we'll definitely be in touch with you. And
Okay.
we can discuss it again at the next meeting, but I really would love to have your support with putting something out there when we're able to do it.
Do we have dates for our next meetings already?
Yeah.
No, we don't have a next meeting date, Mary. I typically we wouldn't meet again over the summer once the cycle is done, and we'd pick it up again at the next cycle. Mary, correct me if I'm wrong. If you feel there's a need to meet, we can have a meeting too. I mean, it's fairly flexible.
Yeah, at this point, I want to remind everybody that all cities at this point are placing their budgets on hold. They don't want to discuss even having what they're going to do in the next 6 months beyond what they've already approved. We're not going to know from cities, counties, or whatever until October what they're even thinking financially or what the results were of the sales tax loss during this period of time. So there's a lot in the air, including the finance department of Adams County. So that's just basically some information for you guys. Unless there's anything else, I'd like to adjourn.
Just one quick question. When does our recommendations, when do we put these to the commissioners and when are they going to award them? When is that happening?
Get those on the public hearing agenda. Actually, we'll start with the study session and then go to public hearing. So we will make you aware of when that is. It really,
Okay.
schedule is different right now. There's fewer items on it and it's taking a little bit longer to get an agenda item set up. So it's a little bit of a different process than we're used to, but we're going to work to get it on.
Bye.
I'll talk to you guys later.
You want me to hang up, Byron?
Hi,
Yep.
Ed. Take
Thank you,
care,
sir.
Ed.